Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. So, according to recent reports, Manchester United have joined Chelsea and Bayern Munich in the race for Denis Zakaria. It also mentions that Liverpool and Manchester City have had a long-standing interest in him. Now, this is obviously stemming from Build. It's also stemming from Christian Fark, and he tends to be reliable. But yeah, I think Man United, Liverpool, City and Chelsea and Munich are all going to go in for him next summer, because Denis Zakaria has been out with a knee injury since March. Now, he currently plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's predominantly a holding midfielder. Borussia Mönchengladbach do value him at around £45 million. He's got around 2 years left on his current contract, and he's made nearly 100 appearances for Borussia Mönchengladbach, and he's been there for over 3 years. He's a former Young Boys player, and before he was at Young Boys, he was at Serviette. He is only the age of 23. So would you take him at Manchester United? We've probably seen him as a replacement for Nemanja Matic. Nemanja Matic obviously could possibly be sold next year. Matic has endured over 3 years at Manchester United. We paid around £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Put some good performances out towards the end of last season. So that's the breaking news on him. Now I want to delve into some news on Jayden Sancho. So I think Jayden Sancho feels unsettled at Borussia Dortmund. I heard that he hasn't had a good start to this season. Now, I think we're going to go in for Jayden Sancho next summer. We obviously missed out on him this year, but I did want Manchester United to sign him. We was obviously refusing to meet Borussia Dortmund's £109 million asking price. And like I said to you, throughout the course of the summer transfer window, Fabrizio Romano had spoken about the Jayden Sancho transfer saga. Christian Fark, he'd also spoken about it. And I think Sancho said a few times that he wanted to come to Manchester United. Don't forget, we was willing to offer him the number 7. Back in August, which was a few months ago now, Dortmund said to us that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We missed out on that deadline, so Sancho went out on pre-season. Sancho, though, since his arrival in Germany, I've got to say he has been a revelation. He's endured over 3 years now with Borussia Dortmund. I think he's still got a contract with Dortmund, is it till 2023? Dortmund got him for next to nothing. They only paid £8 million for him from Man City. The main explanation he left Manchester City is because he didn't get assured any first-team opportunities. And before he was at City, he was at Watford. He began his footballing career with Watford, and I think he was at Watford from the age of 7 to the age of 14. And like I said to you before, Sancho does have a good friendship with Marcus Rashford. But we was only willing to pay so much up front for him in the summer transfer window. Don't forget, at one point it said that Sancho agreed personal terms with the club and he was going to sign a 5-year contract with the club, but obviously we couldn't come to an agreement on a fee. And in the summer transfer window as well, we was looking at a lot of alternatives to Sancho. Now, I want to delve into some news regarding a director of football. Now, according to recent reports, Manchester United are considering hiring Luis Campos. He's the sporting director of Lille. Before, he's been the director at Monaco. I think he was also a scout at Real Madrid. Now, I think it's very imperative that Manchester United get a director of football in, because I said that's one of the structural changes that we do need at the football club. And we've been in the process of trying to get a director of football in since the Jose Mourinho era, and Woodward has said quite a few times he'd like Manchester United to get a director of football in. Don't forget, at one point there was a few former Manchester United players linked with that role. There was obviously talks of Ferdinand getting it, Evra getting it, Van der Sar getting it, Darren Fletcher getting it. By the way, Darren Fletcher has got a coaching role at Manchester United, hasn't he? I think it's for the academy. But that will gain him more experience. Also, there was other names that were linked with it as well. Paul Mitchell, he was linked with it. At one point, Fabio Paratici was linked with it. He's currently the Juventus director. But if we are to get a director of footballing, we need someone who knows the club inside out, I would say, and we need someone who's obviously got that experience, and obviously this Luis Campos has got that experience. Because, for me, Solskjaer does need more backing. Now, Woodward has recently said that he's backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in a lengthy statement. I think that's reflecting on our latest financial results. Don't forget, last season we lost £70 million in revenue due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and our revenue has fallen by like 20%. Like I updated you yesterday, we've paid 20 million or nearly 20 million in dividends to the Glazer family. So that means the Glazers have taken more money out of the club. But in that summer transfer window, Solskjaer wasn't backed enough. I don't think any of our managers have been backed enough since, the Sir Alex Ferguson era. So Moyes wasn't backed enough. Van Gaal wasn't backed enough. Jose Mourinho wasn't backed enough. And Solskjaer has not been backed enough. And there's a lot of Manchester United fans that are demanding Woodward and the Glazers out of the club. We've been critical of them for several years though, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been and all of that. Woodward has been at the football club since 2012, so he's been with us around 8 years. And the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005, and they've been with us around 15 years or so. Matt Judge, he's been at Manchester United a good 7 seasons now. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the pressure has eased off him because we have won our last 2 games. We recently beat PSG in the Champions League by 2-1. Very good win for Manchester United. And we beat Newcastle in our last league game by 4-1. But before them 2 games, Solskjaer was under serious pressure at the football club. So far, we've played 4 games in the league, and we've won 2 and we've lost 2. So we've registered 6 points from 12. But I did say, didn't I, that I think that Solskjaer does deserve more time at Manchester United. This is his 2nd full season at the club. I said to you, didn't I, before the start of this season, what would represent a good season for Manchester United, and that would be to finish in the top 4 and win a trophy. We've not yet won out in terms of silverware under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and we haven't won a trophy for over 3 years. But like I've said to you, I want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure to work out. I like him a lot. He's a club legend. He was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. Despite the recent results, there's still some Man United fans that don't think Solskjaer's good enough to succeed as a manager because he hasn't got that proven pedigree. Manchester United is the third club in his managerial career. He has gained managerial experience, reflecting how long he's been at the club now, because he's been at the club almost 2 years. But before he was with us, he was at Mould. I think he won a few Norwegian titles with Mould, and before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. His record at Cardiff was disastrous. He endured a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. But as you've noticed, when Solskjaer's under pressure, he seems to tactically get it right. And I've been saying, haven't I, a lot recently that Solskjaer's got to improve his decision making, because in a lot of his games at Manchester United, he has been very tactically naive. But we appointed him in December 2018 to replace Jose Mourinho, and he's been permanent Manchester United manager since March 2019. And like I said to you, prior to them 2 games against Newcastle and PSG, Solskjaer was in the exact same position as what he was in at the first part of last season, because at the first part of last season, we endured our worst start ever to a Premier League season. And at that point, Solskjaer was very close to getting sacked as Manchester United manager. And obviously a few weeks ago, there was obviously a lot of reports coming out saying that Mauricio Pochettino could be taking over at Manchester United. It also says we was looking at Massimiliano Allegri as an alternative to him. But it wouldn't really solve a lot, if we did sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It did reveal how much it would cost us to sack him. It cost the club around £4 million. That's totally contrast, though, to what the 18 million that we paid to get rid of Jose Mourinho. Solskjaer's managed nearly 100 games now for Manchester United. He's won over 50 games as Man United manager, and he has got a contract with us until 2022. So he's got just under 2 years left on his current contract. Now, I have taken positives from his tenure, because I thought last season he did very, very well. Obviously got us qualification for the Champions League. And I did say how important Champions League was for our players, attracting players, and for the financial structure. We also finished third. That's the second highest we've finished since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. And we also got to 3 semi-finals. We got to the FA Cup semi-final, the Europa League semi-final, and the EFL Cup semi-final. Solskjaer's made some good signings. He spent over £200 million since he became Manchester United manager. Obviously, in the summer of 2019, he brought Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January, he brought Bruno Fernandes in, and he brought Odin Igalo in on loan. And in the summer transfer window of this year, he brought Donny van der Beek in. He brought Alex Telles in, Edison Cavani, Facundo Pellistri, and he brought Amad Traore in. Amad Traore will be joining the club in January. He's also brought a few academy players into the football club. We've seen a lot of players leave since Solskjaer got recommended in. The most recent players to leave Manchester United were Chris Smalling, Diego Dalot, he went out on loan to AC Milan. Andres Pereira, he went on a 1-season loan with Lazio. Tahith Chon, he went out on loan to Werder Bremen. I think we loaned a few other youngsters out. I think Joe Pereira, he went out on loan for another season. We let Angel Gomez go permanently, don't forget, during the summer, was it? We let Sanchez go permanently to Inter Milan. We made the right decision by getting rid of Sanchez, because It's freed up our wage bill completely. Because I said when Sanchez was at Man United, his wages were having a bad effect on the club, and Sanchez endured a difficult 18 months at Manchester United. We also let Young go back in January. After he endured 8.5 years at the club, he went to Inter Milan. Obviously, there was a few players that left in the summer of 2019. That was Lukaku and Herrera. I think they are two players Man United should have kept. We saw Darmian also leave the football club. Valencia, he left in the summer of 2019. He endured 10 years at Manchester United. Fellaini, he left back in January 2019. I think he was the first player to leave under the Solskjaer era. And I think next year we will get rid of more players. I think next year we'll be obviously looking to offload Jesse Lingard, looking to offload Rojo, Jones. Don't forget Sergio Romero, he's open to leaving the club. James, he could possibly be sold next year as well. Maybe Matic could be sold, like I mentioned, next year. Possibly Juan Mata could be sold next year. Some people think maybe Fred could be sold next year. Sorry, something just came up then. Paul Pogba, he could be sold next summer. Possibly David De Gea could even go next summer. So yeah, and I also like the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has promoted the youth because the young players have been given their opportunities, And we've also had some good periods under him because the second part of last season, we went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. We went on a 14-game unbeaten run in the Premier League, didn't we? And we did well in that 3-month period when Solskjaer was the interim manager. Our record against the top 6 sides last season was also very, very good. Last season we beaten Man City, was it 3 times out of the 4 times we played them? We beaten Chelsea 3 times last season out of the 4 times we played them. Beaten Tottenham a couple of times. We got a draw out of Liverpool as well last season. So there is positives to take. There really, really is. Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. 3 managers have been sacked since the Ferguson era, and that was David Moyes. He got sacked after 8 or 9 months, was it? Obviously, we made a mistake by appointing Moyes in. Under the Moyes era, I think we finished 7th. That's the lowest I think we've finished in the Premier League era. Then obviously, Louis van Gaal got sacked after he endured 2 years at Man United. We did win the FA Cup under him. And Jose Mourinho got sacked after 2.5 years. He won the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield in his first season, did Mourinho. But in the last 7 years, we've been playing catch-up. We haven't only had different managers with different philosophies. We've recruited over 30-odd players since the Ferguson era and spent close to the £1 billion range on them. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. The last time we won it was in Ferguson's last season. But we are the most successful team in Premier League history because we have won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League titles. Like I said to you though, it's going to be hard for any manager at Manchester United to replicate Ferguson's legacy or to last as long as Alex Ferguson did. Ferguson endured 27 years at the club, won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles. Ferguson didn't settle in straight away though because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, but since he retired we've been playing catch up. Before Ferguson came into the equation we weren't that good because we weren't good under Ron Atkinson. We weren't good under Wolf McGuinness. We weren't good under Franco Farrell. We actually got relegated under Franco Farrell back in 1974, which is 40-odd years ago now. You know what I mean? But I'm backing Solskjaer, and I know that I have been critical of him before. like I've said to you, we've got good players. I think Marcus Rashford, very, very good player. Rashford obviously has been part of the club for several years. Recently scored the winner in Paris for the second time, by the way. He's improved under Solskjaer as Rashford. Martial, good player, but hasn't enjoyed the best of starts to this season. But I thought last season, very good under Solskjaer. He was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era as well. Martial's enjoyed over 5 years or so at the football club. I think Mason Greenwood, very, very good player. Don't forget Mason Greenwood hasn't played in our last 2 games. Could be available for the Chelsea game at the weekend. Solskjaer recently warned Mason Greenwood over his late timekeeping. And he's been told to improve his discipline. We had a few issues with Mason Greenwood before the start of the season, didn't we? He was getting dropped from the England squad. Mason Greenwood is our number 11. He's the 4th Manchester United player to wear the number 11, isn't he? But he didn't travel to Paris like I mentioned. I heard that he had a niggle, but it was due to disciplinary reasons, I think. I also think Bruno Fernandes, very, very good. He's definitely made the difference in the team. Obviously, he was captain against PSG recently, and Bruno Fernandes reacted to that, saying, it's an honour to lead the club and that. I didn't expect us to give it to Fernandes. I thought we could have maybe give it to Paul Pogba or De Gea. Obviously, Maguire wasn't available, was he? Because he didn't travel to Paris. Bruno Fernandes has been at Manchester United around 9 months now. He's won Premier League Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good run of performances. He's won some Matt Busby Player of the Year award. The vast majority of Bruno Fernandes' goals have come from the penalty spot. And Bruno Fernandes did obviously score in the PSG game from the penalty. Missed the first one, but then obviously had to retake it and then scored it. I think when we signed Fernandes in January, he signed a 5-year contract with the club with an option of a further year. The other week, Bruno Fernandes denied that he had a bust-up with Solskjaer, because there was reports coming out saying that Fernandes had lost faith in Solskjaer and he was demanding him out of the club, and it also mentioned that Fernandes had a go at the board over the lack of signings. But Fabrizio Romano confirmed there was no problem with Bruno and Ole anyway. And the Sun recently said that Real Madrid and Barcelona were interested in him. I think Donny van der Beek, he's also a very, very good player for us. He's not obviously yet made his full debut for the football club. I think he should be getting his first start against Chelsea at the weekend. I think Solskjaer, he's thinking about where to put him in the team, because Donny van der Beek can play in 3 different roles. I'd put him as a box-to-box because that's his predominant position, but you could put him as an attacking mid. You could also put him on that left-hand side. We got Donny van der Beek in a deal worth £40 million. Donny van der Beek signed a 5-year contract with the club with an option of a further year. I think Fred and McTominay are good. They're not world class, and I don't know if they're good enough to emulate into world class midfielders, but I still think they're good. Fred and McTominay did well recently against PSG, didn't they? Fred's been at the club now a few years. We paid £52 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk, didn't we, Fred? Fred's still got a contract with us until 2023. McTominay, I know I've been critical of him before. Was it just after the first lockdown that McTominay signed a 5-year deal with the club? But they have improved, so I will give them credit. I also think that Luke Shaw is very, very good for Manchester United. My only element of concern about Luke Shaw is that he is injury prone. But prior to that, very good. Luke Shaw's enjoyed around 6 years or so now at Manchester United. Obviously got him from Southampton back in 2014 for around £30 million, Luke Shaw. He's obviously no longer our first choice left back following the arrival of Alex Telles. Alex Telles, like I said, I think he's going to be a good signing for Man United. He'll be probably making his Premier League debut against Chelsea at the weekend. He did well on his debut recently against PSG. Had some good set pieces, put some good crosses in, and made some good runs down that left flank, didn't he? Eric Bailly, very, very good, but too injury prone. Solskjaer recently confirmed that Eric Bailly is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks with a muscle injury. Wasn't so long ago he sustained a hamstring injury whilst he was on international duty. I also think that Wan-Bissaka is very, very good. He's done well in his last 2 games. Did well against PSG, made some good tackles, did well in the Newcastle game, scored in the Newcastle game. That was his first goal for Man United, wasn't it? And his first senior goal. That game against Newcastle was Wan-Bissaka's 50th appearance for the club. And now this season's Wan-Bissaka's second season at the club, obviously. But before them 2 games, Wan-Bissaka enjoyed a pretty bad start to the season. You know, you've got Harry Maguire. I think he's got to improve. To be fair, he did well in his last game against Newcastle. Maguire, I can't really say if Maguire's good as yet. You know, he's had some good games as a Man United player, but he's also had some bad games, hasn't he? But I think against Newcastle, he did sustain the knock, but he still scored in that game. He also sustained the knock in England's 1-0 defeat to Denmark, and he obviously got sent off in that England-Denmark game. So he did have early season troubles. Obviously, the other month he had that incident in Greece, didn't he? Harry Maguire is our current captain. Victor Lindelof, I wouldn't say he's good. I don't think he's good enough to represent Manchester United. You know, Lindelof is another player we could possibly sell next year. You know, Lindelof's enjoyed around 3 years or so at Manchester United. We obviously got him back in 2017 from Benfica, was it for like 30 or 31 million pounds. Tuanzebe, don't really have a perception on him at the moment. I did have a perception on him against PSG though, because I thought he was exceptional against PSG, but he obviously needs to get more game time, then I can give you more of a perception then. But that when he played against PSG, that was his first start for the club in 10 months because Tuanzebe was out with injury for a while, wasn't he? To be fair to David De Gea, I think he's rejuvenated himself in the last 2 games. He'll remain our number 1 this season. Juan Mata, he's a good player for us. But he's lost that yard of pace now as Juan Mata because he's in his 30s now, he's aging up. Did well in both Carabao Cup games this season, did well against Luton and Brighton, also did well in the Newcastle game. Juan Mata's enjoyed around 6 years at the football club, hasn't he? He's scored 50 goals in 258 appearances in all competitions. We paid just under £40 million for Mata from Chelsea back in 2014. And he recently rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Daniel James, I think he had good games last season. He played a lot last season. From my own perception, I think Solskjaer overplayed him last season. I don't think he's had the best of starts to this season, though, Daniel James, has he? Let's be honest. Like I've said already, you know, we could sell him next year. You know, Leeds United are the ones that have been interested in him. Earlier on today, on my 2 videos, I give you the preview for the Manchester United-Chelsea game, and I also give you my starting 11 prediction for the game. Can't wait, it's going to be an interesting game. We're looking for our 3rd win in a row in all competitions. Like I said, it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th meeting with Frank Lampard as Manchester United manager. You know, we played Chelsea 4 times last season. You know, Solskjaer beat him 3 times because on the opening day of last season we beat Chelsea 4-0, beating them 2-0 at Stamford Bridge in the league and beating them in the Carabao Cup 2-1. Chelsea did beat us in the FA Cup semi-final 3-1, so Lampard's obviously beaten Solskjaer once, hasn't he? Like I said, you know, Chelsea currently sitting, 8th in the Premier League. They haven't done as good as we all thought they would have done, because Chelsea made some good signings in the summer transfer window. They spent around £220 million. They brought the likes of Kai Havertz in, Ben Chilwell. They brought Malang Sarr in, Thiago Silva, Mendy. I think he's now their first choice goalkeeper. They obviously brought Timo Werner in. Back in February, they bought Hakim Ziyech in, did Chelsea. To be honest with you, I think Chelsea need to get rid of Kepa Arrizabalaga because he's absolutely trash. I think he's the most expensive goalkeeper in the world at the moment. But Chelsea have got other good players in their team. I don't know who's going to win the game. It's hard to call. You know, our home form hasn't been good though, has it? Away from home, we've been exceptional because we haven't lost any game away from home in any competition since January. And both our defeats this season have come at Old Trafford. We lost 3-1 to Palace and we lost 6-1 to Tottenham. So there you go. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.